Hello and welcome to the Q&A Talkback for Block 8 of SCRiBBLES 2020. My name is Herman Wang. I am a web series creator. My projects include The Spell Tutor, which is based in the Harry Potter universe, and my current project is Illuminagents, which tackles conspiracy theories. SCRiBBLES is the premier annual indie TV and web series festival in the US and the new home for digital creative talent in the TV industry. We honor the year's best content and provide a space for the next generation of creators to connect with industry executives, grow their network, learn new skills, and build community. Today, we are welcoming some of the creators of the incredible shows in our short-form drama category. First, we would like to thank our fest sponsors, including Dell Technologies, AMC Networks, Shutterstock, and Adorama. If this is your first event with us, here are a few notes about interacting on the Shindig platform. You can click the TV icon on the left side of your screen to open the virtual screening room to watch any of the shows at any time. You can click on anyone in the audience to start a private video chat with them. We won't be able to hear that private video chat up on stage. On the bottom toolbar on the far right side, you'll see a lock icon. When it's unlocked, you are available to have video chats with other audience members. When it's locked, obviously, people cannot start chatting with you. If you haven't already, please allow your browser to enable your camera and your microphone so we can see and hear you. Click the gear icon in the top right corner and change the settings to enable your camera and mic. Most importantly, we'll be taking your questions and comments later in the session, so please participate. Use the hand icon to raise your hand if you have a question and would like to come up on stage and join the video chat. Or if you'd like to just submit a question via text, click on the question mark bubble and type it out. So now I'd like to welcome our creator guests. Starting with Lynnsey Ooten, the director and producer of SCRiBBLES.
Hi, hello, everyone.
Hello. Lisa Baylin, the producer of Save Me.
Hi, everybody.
Nili Tserruya, the producer and actor of One Woman. And also Carmen Albano, the co-creator of Detention Adventure. So let's hello. Let's do some introductions. So please just give your name, your project, your role in the project, that sort of thing. Why don't we start backwards? Let's go with Carmen, please, first.
Hi, my name's Carmen Albano. I'm a co-creator of Detention Adventure. I also am one of the writers as well, and also had my fingers in a lot of the pies that go into making our series.
Thank you. Nili, please.
Hi, I'm the creator, actress, producer of One Woman, the web series. You want me to tell a few words about it?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so it's based on true stories of 6 women who chronicle their experiences that reshape their approach to sexuality. And they're all based on real interviews that I've made with women who wish to remain anonymous, therefore I'm their face and voice. I portray each one of them.
Yes, and Nili is joining us from Tel Aviv today, so
right.
Quite distant.
Yeah.
Yes. Lisa, please.
Hi, so my name is Lisa Baylin, and I am the producer of Save Me. So we've done 2 seasons of the show with a company that I work for called Authentic. I'm the VP of Authentic. Yeah, so Save Me is sort of a standalone series that deals with paramedics and people that the lives of people that have to save. So each episode kind of works as a standalone, but the paramedics carry you through each episode.
Thank you. And Lynnsey, please.
Right, so I'm Lynnsey Ooten. I'm the executive producer and director of the web series SCRiBBLES. SCRiBBLES is about a depressed illustrator whose latest drawing comes to life. So antics ensue.
All right, thank you. So we already mentioned that Nili is calling in from Tel Aviv, but Lisa and Lynnsey, where are you calling in from?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
And I'm in New York City. in Manhattan.
All right. So before we get to the audience questions, we have a few prepared questions for our creators here. So first, let's ask Nili from One Woman. Was it challenging to get your subjects to be open and frank about their sexuality and that that sort of topic? If it was difficult, like how did you reach the comfort level needed for what you needed for your series?
Well, that's an excellent question. It was not easy to get there. I started with my friends and sisters and people who are very close to me, women, and it was very embarrassing. And I figured out that we
that would
can't
make it
really
worse, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's what I understood after a while, that I have to go to strangers, to women I've never met before. And it worked really fine. I mean, it started with my cosmetician, my beautician, maybe you say it in English. I told her about my idea, and she just said, "Oh, but of course, I talk with all my clients. I'm going to ask them. I'm going to connect you with women." And then in a week after, she started scheduling me meetings all over the country with women I've never met before, and we just sat there, had in a coffee place, some salad or hamburger, depends on the woman. And we just talked straight ahead about this topic because, they knew I'm going to meet them for that. And it was in a kind of way very releasing for both of us because I guess you never get to tell your true, most intimate story almost to no one. And, suddenly having someone really listening to you, to the things that are almost secret, that you're almost sometimes very ashamed about. It was a very, very interesting process for me. I've met several women, and each woman was so interesting.
Yeah. Did you have to do anything extra to sort of ensure anonymity, to make sure, were they worried that, people would find out it was them, or did you have any sort of official paperwork for that?
Yeah, what I did, well, first of all, definitely they remain anonymous through all the process, and I've changed their profession in the episodes and definitely their names, so no one could tell that. No one told me that they were exposed without wanting to. It didn't happen. No, I really tried to do my best in order to keep their privacy.
All right, thank you. Our next question is for Lisa from Save Me. So some of the episodes deal with, very sort of heavy topics such as, PTSD and suicide and things like that. So what is the team's personal formula for balancing that with, the comedic elements, the punchlines, the gags? Because I imagine it's sort of a difficult balancing act to make sure you get that right without being, blasé about, the important things and being, too lighthearted about the serious things.
That's a good question. So Fab Filippo, who's the creator of the show and the writer, he's got a really great sense of balance on these things. We worked very closely with the paramedic teams, and we had an advisor every season on the show who worked very closely with us. And so the saves that you're seeing in the episode, there's one save per episode that you'll see. And sometimes you see the beginning of an accident, the middle, or even the end before when the paramedics are being called. So everything is, on the paramedic side of things, actually quite accurate, and we pride ourselves on that. And we've actually had a lot of paramedics sort of compliment us on that, and right in the authenticity, which was always very important to us in the show. Fab is a really great writer, and he really has just a great use of the language, and really all the comedy comes from character. And it's though they're we did lean into a couple of, say, bits or comic beats on stunt behavior, but it's really character driven comedy, and so for us, that's kind of the fun. We all know, with being in the digital world, and CBC is our Canadian broadcaster, and we had a lot of freedom. So where we sat on the comedy scale is kind of interesting because it's sort of funny. So at this festival, we're in the drama slot. Often we're in the comedy slot. Sometimes we're in the dramedy slot. So I think over the last two, for both seasons, I think we've managed to hit every genre with this show, which is really fun place to be in as well.
I mean, like that sort of thing could backfire. You might, I suppose, like if you want to, like if you're kind of categorized as different things, different times, then you might have a hard time sort of reaching the audience you're intending to reach. But
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a dramedy, and I think dramedy has become so popular with streaming platforms that it's not network, but definitely on streaming platforms. So many shows that sit in this world. So, and that was definitely our intention when we created the show. It was always having that balance, just the way that Fab naturally writes. And then with having the paramedic world, we were able to sort of go to more extreme, on some of the accidents instead of pushing the moments. But
yeah,
definitely dramedy is such a big genre right now.
Yeah, it's almost like the human reaction to tragedy is to laugh at it, just to kind of break the tension a bit. Yeah,
right. Often,
very much so.
Exactly.
Thank you. We have a question for Lynnsey from SCRiBBLES, which is it's an urban fantasy. I think that's a fair generalization. I don't know if you agree, Lynnsey, but urban fantasy is not something that comes up often in the web series world. So it's in a way it's good to be unique. What's your strategy for finding and connecting to the right audience for this show, and what is the right audience for this show from your point of view?
Great question. I really resonate with what you both were just talking about in terms of genre, because SCRiBBLES has also sat in comedy and fantasy sci-fi and drama and dramedy. So I think it lives in that world as well, which has made building an audience somewhat challenging. Because I don't know if anybody's had the chance to watch it. It is, you explore depression through a creative, and this creative is an illustrator. So once this illustration comes to life, she brings a really wonderful shade of comedy and just very irreverent. Like in our second episode, she's a fairy with no wings, and she poops on, our protagonist's living room floor, but it's glitter. So she's just kind of like this really bizarre ray of sunshine. And it's building our audience has been a very interesting journey. I actually want to do a shout out to, I'm going to butcher her name, but Brie Castellini. I've watched a number of her seminars through Stareable about building an audience, and really just getting creative and figuring out other organizations that kind of reflect the same themes that we explore. So art and depression, we've worked with Art with Impact. They've been a really wonderful source. We've also been working with a number of local artists as well. We actually did an Artist Alley feature earlier this year before, the world ended. But we actually reached out to a number of illustrators, painters, comic artists, and spoke to them about depression and spoke to them about their creative journey and what it's like to live in a city. And it's really broadened the scope of people who have started watching our series. And being a part of the film festival circuit has been really great as well. Just the number of people that you meet and connections that you make. So it's been a mixed bag, but
Yeah, I think you mentioned Brie. So I mean, I think everyone who makes web series should either knows Brie or should get to know her, because she does a lot of wonderful things for web series creators. I think she moderated a panel at this very festival yesterday or the day before. But yeah, she's a ball of energy and very helpful for anyone who's making web series. Another thing you mentioned about Lynnsey, about your series, just that what it's like to live in the city, is just what I've noticed about web series based in New York City, it's just the city itself almost becomes a character in the story, and you can very much see that in the first episode when he's like going for coffee and stuff. I mean, is that something that you intended, or is this just something that happens because you're from New York City and that's just the way it is?
Both. It was really funny because we actually didn't have to invest really any time in getting extras because there's just people around everywhere. But in that character, it showed up in really random ways throughout the series. There's one episode that we shot entirely outside at a local park, which ended up being great because there were tons of bodies, but also you just don't take into consideration noise, because when you live in the city, it becomes so much a part of your existence that you don't really acknowledge noise pollution as being a factor until you're filming and you're thinking, oh, well, you can't, you're saying, what do we do? But yeah, it really kind of bled into every part of every episode because of that.
Thank you. Let's see, Carmen's joined us on stage.
Hi.
So Detention Adventure, it has a lot of young, hello. Detention Adventure has a lot of young cast members, and working with young actors. Obviously, there's sort of restricted labor laws regarding that sort of thing. I mean, how much did you have to compensate for that on Detention Adventure compared to sort of a normal production? Well, not a normal, but a production with mostly adults or all adults.
Here's the thing. Of course, everyone knows like there's limits to how long you can have minors on set. They also have to have tutoring and these sort of things. Fortunately for Detention Adventure, we shot in the summer, and we were able to get around that by it not being required, because
you mean the tutoring element?
Yeah, the tutoring element.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there's still limits to like how long the kids can stay on set, and we were literally, I think every single day we were like down to the second. We were like, and okay, go get.
Yeah, it's a hard. It's a hard end, I guess.
It's hard out, and it's just, and so, but we knew that going in, and we also scheduled like we would sort of look at what scenes had like Bruno or like other characters that were kind of by themselves without the kids or the parents or stuff like that. So we would try to sort of shoot that at the end of the day, so we could like at least have a longer day, but not have to rely on the kids. When we were writing it, we thought we were being super crafty and like putting the kids together in different scenes, like, okay, there's only 2 kids in this scene and 2 kids in this scene. And then we'll just put those scenes together and the kids don't have to be there all day. But then it turned out we block shot the whole thing, and it didn't work out the way that we thought it would. So the kids all 4 kids were there all the time anyway. So, we were trying to, be smart about it, but, and sometimes it worked out, but most of the time we were really just get down to that last second. And, and all their parents were amazing. The kids are amazing. And the thing about having the right actors, the ones that we got, were so lucky because they're just so good. So it wasn't like take after take after take. It was like these kids were nailing it all the time. They were really great. And, and it was just everybody being like totally on point and just knowing we have this limit. Unfortunately, when we did season 2, we shot in the winter. So we had that added element of having to do the tutoring. And I'm sure we annoyed the tutor probably by, because there was always, they need to do it. They need to be and get this much time in. And I guess we did it, but you did feel that extra pressure with that.
Like the stopwatch is ticking all the time.
Totally. Total ticking time bomb every single day. Yeah. Absolutely.
And you mentioned the parents, like, do they come on set? Like, is there a requirement for like is there a sort of an independent person who's watching the children? Is that a requirement?
There's, there's always, every minor has to have a chaperone or somebody with them at all times. Mm-hmm. Like they don't have to, I don't think they don't have to be like there right next to them on set or whatever, but they have to be there. And we also would have like somebody on staff that would, be around and sort of be with the kids, a PA sort of situation. So that was just kind of the standard for how it went. And, it wasn't always the same parent. They'd always switch off. And the fun thing was like the kids really enjoyed the show and doing it. And sometimes like grandma would come with, and like Tommaso's grandmother, who's this awesome, Italian grandmother, Nona is here, everyone would get all excited. But and people switch off with their relatives, to see the film set. And we all know film sets are long days. So a lot of times people would come for the day and be like, sort of get a little bored by the end. But and anyway, all of their family were amazing, and we were again really lucky that their families were so great and understanding in terms of our constraints.
Let's switch to a more general topic. This can be for anyone to answer. So just jump in if you've got anything. Let's start about finances. So, how did you finance your projects? Did you have any challenges in terms of not having enough money? Which I think everyone experiences that. But what sort of challenges did you have, and how did you overcome them?
Well,
Whoever
I can go first. I mean, I think Carmen and I both have a very similar financial structure, so maybe I can kind of talk on behalf of the financing that's available in Canada, because knowing Lauren quite well, your EP. So I know. So we're both on this platform, which is called CBC GEM. So that's the Canadian network that we're involved in. So there's a licensing fee for being on that platform. And then there's some funds that are available in Canada, the Independent Production Fund, the Bell Fund, Ontario Creates, and Canadian Media Fund. So we're quite lucky in Canada for short form content. You have access to apply for those funding bodies. And since that we are also involved with the network, CBC, it allows us to trigger some of those funds specifically. So that's generally what makes up, our financing. Of course, we also have some tax credits in Canada, which are available to us. So we also have tax credits. And then often there are deferrals as well, company deferrals, individual deferrals. In the past, in some of our other shows, Authentic, we've been in the short form business for close to about 10 years now. So on some of our other projects, we've had brand partnerships and financing structures with brands. But as I say, we're pretty unique in Canada having this funding that's specific for short form content.
Yeah. Nili, your show seems like it's a very sort of compact and simple format. So, was it fairly easy for you to get your show done in terms of financing and budget?
Well, it is a compact kind of production, but I had no external funding at all. It was all favors and asking women to just volunteer. And by the way, all the creators in this project are female. It was important for me to tell the stories of women in a very female point of view. So the editor, the director, each episode has a different team of female cinematographers. And then it was mainly favors and a bit of my own. I had no external financial support. So it was quite it took me 3 years to do it. I think that's why.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because I don't know much about Tel Aviv. Like in North America, there's sort of center, like New York, LA, and Toronto, which are sort of centers for film production. So you don't have any problems finding people who know how to work on films. What's it like in Tel Aviv for the film and television industry?
Definitely, if you want to do film, this is the city in our little country. Tel Aviv is the one. Here, everybody, work and do the stuff that's going on. So yeah, I had just to ask people to come and have a day here or there. Oh, I think I'm lost.
No, I can still hear you.
No? Okay, I can't see you. I don't know why. But if you can hear me, that's cool. So I just had to ask for favors, that's why I also changed that each episode will be made with a different team, so I can ask many favors from many people, and not just from one, come for a whole week of shootings or something like that.
Yeah, I think as web series creators, we're fortunate when we can live in one of these kind of hotspots for film, because I know people who live in sort of small towns and out of the way places, and there's not a lot of people who know how to work with film, and maybe they know live theater, but that's a very different world. Yeah. So, Lynnsey or Carmen, would you like to speak up about your financing, your budget process?
Sure.
Lynnsey, go ahead.
Oh, okay, great, thanks. So I did this production with my husband, Brandon, and our creative partner, Jean, respectively. They are Mars and SCRiBBLES from the series. And we self-financed it. So I asked a lot of favors as well. And it becomes a really kind of beautiful labor of love, because people say yes to those favors because they care about what your script is saying. And it was a labor, most definitely. We really pushed ourselves, and we shot 40 pages in 8 days. So most of which was in our apartment. We still have the couch with paint all over it from when SCRiBBLES trashes Lars's apartment. But yeah, it took a lot of conversations, because I'm from the theater and this is my first big film project that I've ventured into. I have a friend who is a producer and has worked in film for a number of years. So she really held my hand and explained a lot of things to me, like how much to get for food. And, you learn what is important by really breaking down your budget. And it's amazing how you can improvise and cutting corners. Like I worked at a restaurant at the time, and the restaurant owner was really nice and decided to make sandwiches for everybody. And one of our extras is a really good friend of mine. So he decided to come over and make pasta while we were shooting in the park one day. And you build yourself a little family, and it was great. Though it'll be great to continue the process without having to self-finance anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know a lot of web series creation depends on asking favors, but I mean, every once in a while I try to actually pay back the favors. So you have to kind of make sure you give as much as you get, I find.
Absolutely.
Okay, apparently we have an audience question for Carmen from Detention Adventure. So we'll just need a second. Oh, here we go. This is a question from Meredith B. For Carmen. How many episodes do you have in the can? She really enjoyed the pilot.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the pilot. It was a lot of fun. We did 10 episodes per season, and season 2 was just released on CBC Gem a little while ago, and it just released on HBO Max in the United States.
Wow.
So we have 20 episodes up on HBO in the States and on CBC Gem in Canada. So there's 20. So if you enjoyed the pilot, there's a lot more.
Now, is the format dictated by CBC Gem particularly? Like, do they say you must have this many or this length or something like that?
No, when we originally pitched it, we just pitched 10-minute episodes, I think. And I think it was just sort of that was what we thought was appropriate. But then when things sort of went a little farther, we thought, well, maybe we'll do 11. And then if it goes on TV, they can put 2 together. And, we were being all smooth, whatever, which then it became all streaming, and it kind of didn't really matter. But during the pandemic, CBC in Canada here did put it on Saturday morning. So, which was really special for us because, I mean, we love this kind of thing, the Goonies and, these kind of things, and Saturday morning cartoons, very 80s. And so to have something that was actually a Saturday morning thing it was really fun. And I watched it with my 2 kids, who are 10 and 6, and they love it. So it was that was really special. But there's 20 episodes.
Okay, why don't we move on to another question, which is what's next for you, either personally or in terms of the project you're working on. So let's throw it back to Nili, I guess.
Well, I've got many ideas how to continue One Woman, mainly because I think the theme is a very, very relevant one. It's a very hot subject all over the world, I think. And I believe that after the Me Too wave, this is the next step, having women being able to talk openly, authentically, sincerely about such a complex subject, and that is usually wrapped with a lot of shame and embarrassment. So I do hope to make more of One Woman, or even to expand it to having a couple season, and having testimonial of the men and the women, and then see them interact. I think that'd be interesting. I've got now, after I'm out, so I have a lot of women coming over and telling me that they want to tell me their stories. So
it's going to be easier this time around.
Yeah, in this part, yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, one thing I found interesting about your show was just it kind of breaks the myth that all women are the same. Like these women had very specific and very differing kinds of attitudes, and experiences with with sexuality. So that I think that was very interesting itself as an aspect of it. Right. Lynnsey, what's next for you?
Great question. So many good questions. We have 4 episodes that are done out of a 10-episode season, first season. So we have the additional 6 scripted, and now we are just looking for a producing partner to kind of come in and put some paint on their hands and help us get the rest of it done. So that's where we are. Aside from SCRiBBLES, I am also venturing onto a new project with my creative partner and husband. radio drama, which I've never actually sunk my teeth into before. So I'm really kind of excited to do something different with my brain.
I think a lot of people are pivoting into audio dramas and podcasts and things like that. I mean, it just seems a natural thing to do when we're all stuck at home.
Right.
Carmen, what's next for you?
Hopefully season 3, and we'll see when that happens. I'm not sure, wouldn't happen for a little bit, but and I have other projects on the go with other things. My creative partner Joe Keatsack, who created this with me, him and I are trying to work out some new things, so that's exciting. And we're trying to move into like the half-hour stuff, but the same sort of, the kids, getting into shenanigans sort of stuff.
Those kids.
No, always up to something.
Lisa, what's next for you?
So with Save Me, we're in half-hour development with Amazon for the show. So that's great. So that's been a really great process so far. Yeah, thank you. So we'll see. There might be some news on that front in the new year. So that's been a great process. And Fab has another show that actually, a half-hour show that he's working on right now, which is on CBC main network. And I believe a U.S. network picked it up, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to say that, so I won't. I won't say.
Didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, we can edit that out.
But yeah, he's got a new show there, and then I'm about to take out for distribution a new show that we did with CBC as well and Universal Music, called For the Record. So that's really cool. That is 10 episodes, and each is centered. It's on that one is 6 episodes. And what it is, they have a couple that it's broken up, and then they find their way back together through an interconnected cast of characters. And then each song is sort of based on a pivotal moment in their relationship and a song that corresponds with that moment. So we've got music from like The Weeknd and the Beach Boys, Johnny Orlando, which is like a big guy coming up. So Nina Simone. So we've got some really interesting music that's tied to that series. And what we're doing right now is, before we launch in Canada, we're trying to secure a US platform and network on that show, so we can do a simul launch at the same time. So that's next week. The deck is ready and the trailer is ready, and so now we're knocking on doors.
Okay, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I show where everyone kind of has plans in the pipeline and stuff, but, the specter hanging over one's head is, how we're, when are we actually going to be able to get back to sort of shooting in a normal way, or even just shooting in a restricted way? Because, I know there's some productions that, have tried to start up again with safety protocols and things, but it's, some of them had to shut back down again because, one person got through and now they tested positive, and now, the whole thing's all on hold for 2 weeks or however long. So this is a really, it's really challenging time. It's a challenging time for everyone, but filmmakers, just with production pipelines, it's difficult when you can't even get started.
Yeah, and there's been quite a few productions that have started. Toronto and Vancouver, there's quite a few things that are shooting, and yeah, they've had kind of their ups and downs, and everyone has their own COVID protocols. There are some union rules and regs, but everybody's just got to kind of find their own way. Like from one production I know, like the actors are not allowed to touch each other's props. So you have to cut before any actor would have to hand.
That's not allowed anyway.
That's extreme, Oh, no, we're not going that way, are we? No. But so, there are some extremes, and then there's, copious amounts of testing. And then I was at a production office the other day for a meeting, and they said they're not doing actually testing, right? So everybody's got, their own kind of rules and regs, and depending on. We shot a couple things over the summer. Some was a really small 3-person crew. Then we did a 25-person shoot, and it was not nothing. It was challenging, and everybody following the rules and regs and mask protocols, and so I was a bit surprised actually at times how much of a struggle it was to get people to follow kind of rules and regs. But so I think that's some of the challenges that the bigger sets are having as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Mm-hmm. Well, it's time to wrap up this Talkback block. So I would like to thank all the amazing creators for joining us today. So Lynnsey Ooten from SCRiBBLES, thank you very much. Lisa Baylin from Save Me, Nili Tserruya from One Woman, and Carmen Albano from Detention Adventure.
Thank you.
So, thank you again to our
Have
festival.
a great festival.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you again to our festival sponsors, including Dell Technologies, AMC Networks, Shutterstock, and Adorama. Thank you to the audience for being here and participating. We love seeing you all here. Thank you for joining us and being part of this impressive community of creators. We'll see you next time. The next session is from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which is an hour and a half from now. A panel exploring the future of short form, featuring Lily Ladwig of Group 9 Media and Kevin Dreyfus of AMC Networks, and also Bernie Sue, known for the Lizzie Bennett Diaries. I'm sure that's a name everyone knows. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great day, and enjoy the rest of the festival, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.